At each dawn, the Nile awakens this land, an artery of life threading desert and stone. Along its banks, people sow, harvest, and craft, drawing sustenance from the river and
Not so long ago, the land that we now call the Sahara was green. Vast grasslands stretched to the horizon, and rivers cut lively paths to the sea. Here,
Along the Nile, where river meets desert, the first villages took root. Reeds, mud, and fire shaped their homes, while the fertile floodplain fed their families. Here, humanity began.
In the reed-chalked delta, hunters slip silently through the shallows. With bone-tipped arrow and patient breath, they read the sky. One shot and nourishment for the village is won.
In the silt left by the receding Nile, life begins again. Each seed pressed into the dark, wet earth carries the promise of the season to come. Guided by
Along the Nile, thousands of years before the first pharaoh, a craftsman shapes earth and water into vessels that will outlast his own name. His hands know the clay as one might know a song, drawing patterns.
In the pre-dynastic villages along the Nile, skill meant survival. Here, a toolmaker coaxes an edge from river flint, each measured stroke sending sparks into
Before the pyramids, before the kings, people followed the river. Here they herded and shaped clay, sailed on reeds, and offered thanks to the rising sun. From this
world, before kings and pyramids, along the gift of the Nile, people learned to shape the earth and one another. They sowed grain, turned clay, hunted.
At the first light on the Nile, a people awoke to shape the land and themselves. Clay turned to vessels, reeds to shelter, herds to wealth. The river carried their lives, and the fire.
At the dawn of history, along a ribbon of life in the desert, people began to shape a future that would echo for millennia. They paddled the Nile, turned its soil, and fired clay into forms both.
At the dawn of the Nile, before pharaohs and pyramids, people shaped a way of life from river, stone, and sun. They ground the first harvests, turned clay into vessels.
At the edge of the desert, where the Nile first greets the dawn, a people took root. They shaped the floodplain, carved stone and clay, and adorned themselves with the.
At the dawn of history, along a river of life, people began to shape a world that would endure for millennia. They planted and harvested, carved ivory and stones.
At the first light over the Nile, a people awakened to the rhythm of the river. Here, clay becomes vessels, grain becomes bread, and even conflict.
Before pyramids, before pharaohs, people gathered along the great river's edge. They ground the grain, carved the bone, and built boats of papyrus to master the current. Villages grew.